These are my NBA All-Star reserve. Yesterday the starters were announced, which means next the reserves are announced. There are 7 remaining spots in the East and West, so let's go. First we have Jalen Williams from OKC. The West reserves were harder than the East in my opinion. It was hard to leave some people out, but Jalen Williams has been amazing this year. OKC is one of the best teams in the NBA. There's no way that they should not have 2 All-Stars, especially the way he's been playing. Number 2 is Norman Powell. Norman Powell deserves to be an All-Star, and if he does not make the list, like I said the other day, that is a crime. This man is averaging career highs, been cooking all year, and him and James Harden have really made the Clippers relevant when Kawhi was out. Because guess what? When Kawhi came back, the team was already in 5th place. So shout out to Norman Powell. Now, I made a way too early NBA All-Star predictions a couple months ago, and I had Ja Morant instead of Jaren Jackson Jr. But I am switching those picks. One, because Ja Morant has missed a bunch of time, and Jaren Jackson Jr. is having a crazy season. Again, the West is harder than the East in my opinion, and somebody gets left off, and I think the Grizzlies are only going to get 1 All-Star, and I'm going to give the nod to Jaren Jackson Jr. And just so you know, I am picking based on who I think deserves a spot, and also who I think the coaches will pick. So it's like a combination of the two. So it's my opinion plus what I think the coaches might think. Next we have Victor Wembanyama. There's not really any debate, or there shouldn't be any questions. He's a lock. He is getting in. Next we have Alperen Sengun. I have been saying for a while on this channel, if you watch this page, you know, I have been saying Alperen Sengun is a future perennial All-Star. And this year he gets to have his first All-Star appearance. Yay for him! He has deserved it, he has earned it, and I really hope he makes the roster because he should be an All-Star. Next we have Anthony Edwards. I think this is pretty obvious. It would be hard to not have Anthony Edwards as an NBA All-Star, so like I said, this goes without saying. The last All-Star in the West is Kyrie Irving. This is the spot, obviously the last spot, I had the toughest time with. The last spot was the hardest for me because I'm sure you noticed, no Anthony Davis. Because Wembanyama and Sengun and all that stuff are playing so well, I do think they pushed Anthony Davis out of the All-Star category this year because Kyrie Irving has been having a very good season as well. And I feel like he's going to get voted in. So I don't think Anthony Davis makes the team this year. Also, again, don't have Sabonis on here, who has been playing very well also. And the Kings are on a crazy winning streak. They just keep winning games. But I do think it's going to go to Kyrie Irving. The player I am most disappointed in not making this list, although obviously I made the list, is James Harden because, again, I'm making this list based on who I think deserves it, but also how the coaches are going to pick. And I do think, unfortunately, the Clippers are only going to get 1 All-Star, but I really, really hope that James Harden gets a pick as well. I just feel like he really deserves it. He really earned it. But again, I think they might only get 1. And if I had to pick between the two, I'm giving it to Norman Powell because his career year deserves recognition. Because again, if you give it to James Harden, who do you take off the list? I mean, like I said, Kyrie Irving took the last spot on my list, so I guess I would be taking James Harden over him, but Kyrie Irving has also been playing very well also, and the Mavericks, although they've been losing, without Luka, they are still a top 7 team in the Western Conference. And you could say that's not super high up, but Anthony Edwards' team is 8th or 9th, so I mean, and Kevin Durant's team, the Suns, are in 10th place, so you can't say that as an argument. Now we go to the East and we have Jaylen Brown. You know what's crazy? Nobody is talking about Jaylen Brown at all. I feel like last year when the All-Star debate was coming up, it was a lot of talk around Jaylen Brown, but this year, I feel like there's nothing on him. But I think he's going to be an All-Star. I think he's earned it with his play, his statistics, and obviously his team is winning. So Jaylen Brown will be an All-Star. Next up, we have Cade Cunningham. There's no world where you convince me that Cade Cunningham does not deserve a spot. Him and Norman Powell are the 2 first-time All-Stars that I am rooting so heavily for because I feel like both of them really deserve it. And I think the coaches will give him the nod as well because look how the Pistons are playing. A team that lost, was it 26 straight last year without Cade Cunningham? Now that team is fighting for a playoff spot, so shout out to Cade. LaMelo Ball, I mean, I thought he actually had a chance to potentially start because we saw his stats and obviously how the fans were voting, so I was like, he might actually start. He didn't, of course. However, I think he's going to get an All-Star nod. Trae Young is back in the All-Star conversation. I know he's a very polarizing player, but you can't tell me Trae Young is not an All-Star this year. Evan Mobley, another first-time All-Star, and he deserves this spot. I think the Cavs, of course, are also going to get 2 All-Stars similar to the OKC Thunder, but the problem with the Cavs, or not even the problem, but you could give it to Jared Allen or Darius Garland. All 4 of them have been playing very well, including Donovan Mitchell, obviously. but I think it goes to Evan Mobley. He took a huge step forward offensively. He's been getting it done. Shout out to Evan Mobley. Then we have Damian Lillard. The Bucks, who again started the year off kind of shaky and slow, have pulled it together, and part of that is due to Dame. I think Damian Lillard will get the All-Star nod, and obviously him and Giannis will both be All-Stars. And the last player to be an All-Star, in my opinion, is Jalen Johnson. I am really hoping he makes it. I have a correction. The 3 players I have been rooting super heavily for to make the All-Star team this year is Jalen Johnson, Cade Cunningham, and Norman Powell. Jalen Johnson, his season is going so under the radar. Have you been seeing what he's done for the Hawks? Unfortunately, he just got hurt. He has like a shoulder injury. Hopefully he comes back soon. But Jalen Johnson, he has to be an All-Star. I know the Hawks are not a top 2 team in the Eastern Conference, which is, might ring questions like, how come they get 2 All-Stars? Jalen Johnson has earned it. He really deserves it. The thing is, Trae Young is 100% an All-Star in my opinion. And so, you're not going to take it away from Trae Young. So the player who might get snubbed is Jalen Johnson, unfortunately, but I think he deserves a spot. So that is my opinion. The real question and tough time is that I didn't put Tyler Hero on the list. And Tyler Hero is having a crazy year also. Obviously, we're all, hearing about Jimmy and seeing all the Jimmy news. But if you watch Miami Heat basketball, it's Tyler Hero. So it was really hard not to put him on this list. But I had to go with Jalen Johnson because I just feel like all year Jalen Johnson has shown all-star caliber play.